Before going any further, I want to make an important announcement because you remember last year, after a thorough and very rigorous investigation by Pam Bondi and all of the people at Department of Justice, the FBI, the CIA, the White House Counsel's Office, and the Department of Everything. We have a Department of Everything. You know what that is? I think that's called the White House. Into a terrible situation caused by a man named Sleepy Joe Biden. He used an autopen last year for the turkey's pardon. So I have the official duty to determine, and I have determined that last year's turkey pardons are totally invalid. The turkeys being pardoned today go by the names of Gobble and Waddle. When I first saw their pictures, I thought we should send them, I shouldn't say this. I was going to call them Chuck and Nancy. But then I realized I wouldn't be pardoning them. I would never pardon those two people. I wouldn't pardon them. I wouldn't care what Melania told me. Darling, I think it would be a nice thing to do. I won't do it, darling. As are the pardons of about every other person that was pardoned other than, where's Hunter? No, Hunter's was good. That was the one pardon, Pam, that was good, right? The rest of them are all invalid. I don't know what the hell you're going to do about that, but now we're going to take a little of the joking. That is a mess. But they're hereby null and void. The turkeys known as Peach and Blossom last year have been located, and they were on their way to be processed, in other words, to be killed. But I have stopped that journey, and I am officially pardoning them, and they will not be served for Thanksgiving dinner. We saved them in the nick of time. This one has plenty of time, but they were saved in the nick of time.
Joining us now is political commentator Shemaika Michelle. Shemaika, always great to see you. Hope you are well there in North Carolina. Now we played earlier the clip of Zohran Mamdani with Donald Trump in the White House. We played it earlier, it was great, but we want to get your opinions on it. So the great socialist, communist, whatever he is, went to the White House. What did you make of the way Donald Trump dealt with him?
You know, I do feel like Trump was very nice with him. I do feel like he used kid gloves, but maybe that's a tactic that he has, you know, where they say keep your enemies closer. Maybe that's actually what he was doing. I've watched Trump over the years, and sometimes I don't agree with the way he goes about things, but it seems more often than not that his way is the right way. So I'm still just trusting in him as the leader of this country and hoping that he actually knows what he's doing. It's hard for me to think that you could meet a socialist or a communist halfway or try to get along with them, but he has been elected, he is in office, and so I'm just going to see how it all plays out.
Rita.
He was very complimentary. I was shocked.
Yes.
They're both New Yorkers and he wants New York to succeed. He's had a big week. Cristiano Ronaldo, possibly the biggest sporting superstar anywhere in the world, was at the White House. Tell me about that. Donald Trump seems to be bringing together all sorts of people, including Nicki Minaj, who thanked the Trump administration for bringing attention to what is happening in Nigeria with the persecution of Christians. it's been a big week.
Yeah, this is one of Donald Trump's strong suits. He has the ability to bring people together. I think he's a very likable person, which is why the left works so hard to make people not like him. They actually have to make up lies and spin certain narratives so that he's not the person that he's always been. He was always pretty much beloved here, even by the hip hop community. So Nicki Minaj coming out and taking this stance is not really surprising to me. He was the American dream for so long until he looked to be a threat to the left or to the establishment. So I'm not surprised that so many people want to be around him, want to be in his presence. This is the type of person he is and has always been.
Caroline.
Shamika, we saw obviously the Trump's very cordial meeting with Mamdani. One of the things that the New York mayor-elect has been criticised for is for refusing to condemn comments like globalize the intifada. Now, he walked that back a little bit in his campaign, but then in Manhattan this week, we saw a group of protesters outside a synagogue. I think we might have this clip. We don't, unfortunately, but they were chanting that very phrase, globalize the Intifada revolution, outside the synagogue with a 93-year-old rabbi inside who was a Holocaust survivor and had lived through all of that the first time around. What did you make of that? Do you think that someone like Mamdani can really stamp out anti-Semitism in the city?
No, I don't think he can stamp it out. And I honestly don't think that he desires to because of the way that he carried on his campaign and the rhetoric that he not only himself made, but allowed others to make who were his supporters. So I don't necessarily think he can stamp it out. And I condemn anybody not having the freedom to worship in the way that they would like to worship. I don't like those type of actions being taken, the same as I don't want Christians ridiculed. So I don't like what's happening, and I don't think he is the person who will actually stamp that out. Again, this is why I said I don't feel like you can meet a socialist or a communist halfway. I just don't. But again, I have to trust the people in power and just hope that our president and our vice president and anyone else in his administration that has the power to actually maybe make a difference, they actually combat this very strongly and harshly.
Now, Shamika, I've got to obviously ask you about the Epstein files still going on, the story that refuses to die. There's a lot of people say, well, the average American isn't interested in this stuff. Donald Trump says it's the Democrats basically trying to rework the Russian hoax, and now it's the Epstein hoax. Do Americans care about this? And will the release of these files, do you think, put an end to this matter? Or is it just going to keep the train rolling on down the tracks?
The Epstein files remind me of Bebe's kids. It doesn't die, it multiplies. Like, it's just not going anywhere. And no, I don't think the average American actually cares about the files. I think for most Americans, they care about living, being able to afford where they live, being able to afford food and gas. I think that's the average American. I think those of us in the media and on social media, maybe we have a little bit more interest simply because we're inquisitive, or as what some people would say, we're nosy. We just want to know. I want to know. I'm waiting for the files to come out. But no, I don't think the average American is concerned. And I don't think it should be at the top of the list because it's not the concern of the average American. They want to be able to live and take care of themselves and their children. I think that's really what the focus should be on.
And Shamika, Donald Trump named Bill Clinton and others. Where do your Democrat friends sit in this world? Would they be surprised to learn anything about Bill and Hillary Clinton, or is that just given that there was some pretty odd goings on with that couple?
No, I think they would be concerned, but as they do so often, they would make excuses for them. So I don't think the concern would last long. They would find a way to spin it, and they would find a way to make their heroes or their so-called heroes look good. Again, for me, I would love to know if Bill Clinton was there, because I always say I have a ratchet little girl living on the inside of me who's just nosy, who likes drama and controversy, and I want to see it. But for the people who actually love Bill Clinton, they'll actually find an excuse if it comes out that he was involved in any way.
Fantastic. Shamika, Michelle, always great to chat to you. Thanks so much.